family to your county. And then we'll fund a little border wall around Izzard, and then we'll just do our own thing. You know what I mean? We'll just start getting the farmers out there. Actually, just the truckers. We'll do a trucker wall, and then we'll just hang out, raise cattle, and start over.
Well, see, the nice thing about rural communities is, for the most part, I mean, you've got people everywhere who are going to disagree with you, but for the most part, the people here are very patriotic. For the most part, people are very self-sufficient. They are pursuing their happiness. And again, it's the government who is disrupting their way of life. I mean, you've got Biden, 90% of the county here is agriculture. So you've got Biden who wants to tax the crap out of the ranchers and farmers to pay for some of his projects. And if he does that, obviously what's it going to do? It's going to drive them out of business. They're going to lose their land because they won't be able to afford the taxes. And then what do we lose as a country? We lose food. We lose the ability to raise our own food supply, and we have to go to foreign countries to get it. So they're trying to destroy the country from within. And they're trying to do it, by just basically like the King of England did, right? Taxation without representation. Oh, I've got this project. The ranchers don't pay enough money, so let's quadruple their taxes. We need $1 trillion in the next X amount of years. So we're just going to, we're going to tax everything they do and take all their money away from them to shut them down. And then we'll have to, what we'll have to do is go to foreign resources to get food. And then that's another way to control the U.S. population, right? So the nice thing about these rural counties is that everybody here, for the most part, right? I mean, everybody has their 10%, 5%, 3%. Everybody here is self-sufficient, right? They support themselves. They know how to grow a garden. They know how to can their own food. They know how to raise animals. They know how to, take care of themselves when times get tough. So typically what happens is that as long as you can maintain a conservative government within the confines of these types of counties, the federal government is going to be more apt to pick on cities like New York, Los Angeles, Phoenix, because it's easier to control larger populations, right? If you go to Phoenix and you want people in Phoenix to do something, you shut off their water, in about 3 days, they're all doing whatever you want them to do. You shut off their electric in the middle of summer when it's 120 degrees, in about 6 or 7 hours, they're all doing what you want them to do. You come out to an area like this, and you tell people, this is what we want you to do, they're going to look at it like, that's a challenge, right? It's like, you go ahead and try to force us to do it and watch what happens. So, these rural communities are, the backbone of our country because they're the last holdout. They don't, federal government says do this, or they're like, we're not going to do it. We want you to do this in schools, or we're going to cut off your money. Go ahead and cut off our money. We're still not going to do it. So, this is the backbone of America. This is where, and I call it not a revolution, I call it a revival. This is where the revivals need to start the little ripple in the pond becomes a wave across the country. And people need to start being efficient. They need to stop this immediate gratification mentality. They got to stop this over-exaggerated sense of entitlement. They got to put their stupid cell phones and computers away and start getting back to, the basics with their families, communicating, showing their children, the basic skills that they need to survive should times get tough. And it's, that's not what they're doing in a lot of the major cities. They lose their cell phone coverage, they're ready to riot. McDonald's closes down, oh my God, what are we going to do? People need to get away from that. They need to get back to the basics, and they need to start communicating. They need to start, meeting together as a group. Since the age of technology, everybody talks, they text, they talk on their cell phone, they do FaceTime. You need to forget all that crap and start meeting with people. Who are your neighbors? Learn who your neighbors are. Learn who the people are in your community. Go meet with like-minded people. Have face-to-face conversations. Who gives a crap that the government says you can't gather together or wear a mask? Again, it's not a law. Do what you want to do. Get out there, meet with people. And one of the things I love about living here is I do it all the time. Nobody here wears a mask. Since I've been here, nobody's ever worn a mask. Nobody's getting the shot. Nobody, they live their life. You go to a restaurant, everybody's talking to everybody else. You go to a community meeting of some sort, everybody's talking to everybody else. Nobody cares. They don't care what the government has to say. They're going to do what they want to do, and they're going to teach their children how to survive when times get tough, and they do it by example. And everybody needs to do that because, you never know. I mean, forget about COVID, forget about the government right now. None of us know when disaster is going to strike. None of us, right? Things happen all the time. Hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes, whatever. People need to not rely on the government when those things transpire. They need to be able to take care of themselves and their families for an extended period of time whenever these types of things transpire, and not sit there and literally, they're either waiting to die or for the government to rescue them. And I know I don't really know how old you guys are, but my grandparents, we lived in an area where there were quite a few natural disasters, tornadoes especially. And my grandparents never skipped a beat, man. It's like they always had food stored up. And again, they weren't survivalists or any kind of, members of some extreme, right-wing organization. They were just normal people, normal, kind-loving people. But disaster would strike, and it was like nobody skipped a beat. We had heat, we had food, we had water, because they were always prepared for whatever was going to come their way. We had, lots of conversations. I never remember. We watched TV very seldom. And most of our family time was spent sitting around a table, having a cup of coffee, having conversations, learning from our elders, I'll use that term loosely, and talking about what adventure we were going to go on next. And I try to maintain that in my household now and with the people that I deal with and my kids and my friends. We don't sit around on the freaking phone or on the computer or watching TV. We're planning our next adventure. What are we going to do next? How can we improve this? How can we improve that? And our nation needs to get back to that.
Amen. Unfortunately, Steve, we're out of time. Please share with our audience if you have a website up, if they want to volunteer for your campaign or donate, please share that information with our followers and our listeners.
Okay, now I have a GoFundMe, and I know a lot of people have a problem with GoFundMe, but if the other website, I can't remember the exact name of it, but anyway,
Give, Send, Go. Give, Send, Go.
Give, Send, Go was hacked, and my account is locked. So they're having a lot of technical problems, so I did have to open a GoFundMe. But if you go to GoFundMe and you search Doran for Sheriff on GoFundMe, there's a page where you can donate to my campaign. If you want to know more about me, you can go to Doran, my last name, Doran, for FOR, Izzard, Izard, countysheriff.com, and there's a webpage about me. And again, just go to GoFundMe, type in Doran for Sheriff, and it'll take you to my page if you want to make a donation.
I'm donating.
Steve, thank you.
I'm having to.
1 second, Jarrod. Steve, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for wanting to stand up for the American people again by representing them in Arkansas. I'm sorry that we're out of time, but hopefully, you can call back in again, and I'll coordinate with Jarrod when you're going to come on to talk about Arkansas, the county you're running in, and talk about the policies and institutes that you want to put in place. But thank you so much again for your time, Steve, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you for having me on, sir.
You're welcome, sir. Jarrod, we have about 4 minutes, so you got 2 minutes.
Oh, that was fun, man. Good time. We had a good time. I'm headed to Izard County. I'm going to go get deputized, and that's it. That's the retirement plan, brother.
Thank you so much, Jarrod, for inviting Steve on the show. This is what the American people needs to hear. And I'm thankful and blessed that you're my co-host. Like I always say, you're my brother from another mother, but we have the same father. You're a Christian. I'm Jewish. You're Jewish by blood, Christian by faith. I'm waiting for my DNA to come back to confirm I'm Jewish by blood and Jewish by faith. But in all seriousness, as long as we believe in a higher power, as long as we believe that there's a force out there greater than us and we respect that, then we should respect all human beings and all things that our God has placed in this universe for us to oversee and to be blessed by. Jarrod, do you want to say anything before I close out?
Yeah, hey, just everybody have a great evening. This is about uniting. This is not about dividing. Patriots come in all shapes, sizes, and forms. The libertarians, the independents, the Republicans, the Democrats, those majority who never left the center. We're not alone. We're not divided. It's the progressives on the outside that are the extremists. So just remember, this is about uniting, not dividing, and we love you all.
Jarrod, thank you so much. It's an honor and a blessing that you're my co-host. And I hope and pray that we don't have to have another 9/11 for America to come together as one country. I'm a 9/11 survivor. I was at ground zero. And that's the last time that I saw patriotism in this country unwaver. And I hope that we don't have to have a situation like that in order for people to wake up. I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning into American First Patriot Podcast. Honored and blessed to have my veteran, my Jewish brother of Christian faith, Jarrod Tomassi, on the show with me. Awesome patriot veteran, always on the ground fighting. He's even fighting when he's at work. Big construction guy, and he's always on his phone fighting for American people. And we're thankful that we have him on our show. You can follow American First Patriot Podcast. Please join us at Linktree. That's Linktree, American First Patriot Podcast. When you go to that site, you can follow us on all the conservative and, unfortunately, mainstream social media sites. We want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. We want to thank you for support. This is a new show, and it's evolving, and I'm happy to do this with Jarrod. As we evolve and we get engaged in more things, we will have more people calling in to participate. This show is for you. It's not for us. It is for us to help raise the level of consciousness and provide information that is truthful for the American people. We're here to defend your freedom and liberty. That's the purpose of this show. And we want to thank you all again for your support. God bless you all. Have a great weekend. Remember, keep the faith. And we're here every Monday from 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. God bless you all. Don't forget America first. Do not listen to the news media. Be the news. Don't be a subject of the news. God bless you all. Have a good night now. Take care.